super embarrassing. Way, way back in the 1980s, secret government employees dug up famous guys and ladies and made them using genetic copies. Now the clones are sexy teens now. They're gonna make it if they try. Loving, learning, sharing, judging. Time to laugh and shiver and cry. It's time to watch Clone High. Clone High. Clone High. Hey everybody, welcome to AmateurCast, the show where we pretend to know what we're talking about. My name is Phil Lord, and I am joined with Chris Miller.
Behold, the twilight of man.
Amen. And how are you been, Chris? No, I'm Sebastian Limon, and I'm joined with Kolby Lipis. How have you been, Kolby?
Everybody. We've been excited to talk about Clone High for so long. We've referenced it in so many past episodes. And now, Judgment Day is upon us.
Yeah. Today's the day. Oh my god, my voice got cleared from singing that.
I love it. I love it.
Do you know the lyrics of the song too, or no?
I don't. I was trying so hard to find a place to jump in and sing with you, and I didn't know any of the words. I literally just sang the last word. I only knew cry.
Great song. Abandoned pools. They're fun.
I'm shocked that you know every word by heart. That's amazing.
I'm shocked too. I don't know how. It's just, I don't know.
Well, I've only watched the show on YouTube, and they cut out the theme song.
Oh, really? We probably didn't watch the same thing then.
I've only listened to the theme song like a couple, because I've only watched the show. There's like a 4-hour video on YouTube that's just every episode in one video, and they only play the theme song for the first one, so that you don't have to listen to it every time. But it's like one of the only theme songs I wouldn't mind listening to every time.
Yeah, it's
so
really
good.
kick-ass theme song.
It's great.
Speaking of Clone High, the guys that created Clone High are called Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
And we just stole their identities.
Yes, we did.
Come get them.
They're now named Sebastian and Kolby.
Try and take them away from us. I dare you.
Yeah. You suck. Speaking of them, they produced... What did they produce, Kolby? Introduce what we're talking about today.
They produced Cats.
Oh, God. Hacks.
No, they produced The Mitchells vs. the Machines, a new animated movie on Netflix, directed and written by Michael Rianda and Jeff Rowe, who you guys might know from working on the show Gravity Falls, which is a really amazing show that was on Disney Channel at Disney XD in like 2012. I grew up with it. I mean, me and you were pretty young when it came out.
I grew up with it too. It was awesome.
But similar to like Avatar: The Last Airbender, what's great about it is that it's very accessible for kids, but I think everybody that grew up with it has not grown out of it, and they like
it gets really, better when you get older, for sure.
Yeah, it really is just made so well that it's like undeniable that it ages really well, and that they're also Phil Lord and which was which? Phil Lord and Chris Miller?
Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Okay. I promise you guys, I'm big fans.
Phil Miller and Chris Lord.
Mill Filler and Liz Cord.
Mill Filler, there you
go. They also produced Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which I feel like we've referenced it on this podcast before. It's just such a it's great cornerstone movie at this point.
Yeah, it's already an instant classic.
Yes, I think we'll look back on it in 10 years and say it was one of the best movies of the decade for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
It's amazing. We thought about including that movie in this episode, but I think that movie warrants like a 2-hour discussion all on its own.
Yeah, especially with that amazing animation. It's great.
Maybe in the future, maybe when the next Spider-Man movie comes out, we can do a series on the different Spider-Man trilogies.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. And then Lord and Miller also, they also directed and wrote the Lego Movie.
Woo!
As well as Claudio the Chance of Meatballs.
Yes.
Did they also produce? They produced Storks, right?
Yeah, they helped produce Storks.
You've talked about Storks on this show. You're a fan of Storks.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
Storks.
it.
Super fun.
But yeah, they're just really dominating the animation field right now. Big time.
Animation, and they even directed the Jump Street movies with
Of
Jonah
course.
Hill and Channing Tatum.
Yes.
And they have many projects on the way, which we look forward to.
Yeah, they've signed some major deal with Sony to make like 1,000 movies in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So they're making bank.
Yeah, and they have like a
major
production company now with Universal, which I can't wait for because they're going to allow other people to make things, which is going to be fun. Yeah. Yeah. Good for them.
Good for
And
them.
they almost directed Solo.
Well, they directed like half of Solo, and then they brought in
Hollywood hack Ron Howard.
my favorite director, Ron Howard. I'm a fan of Ron Howard as an actor. I actually am. Like,
Yeah?
you know, when he was young, like American Graffiti is one of my favorite movies.
I still haven't seen that.
I'll be honest, like I haven't seen very many Ron Howard movies. I haven't seen the
I
movies
haven't
that
either.
make people really respect him, like Rush or Apollo. Is it 11?
Apollo 13 is good.
Apollo 13. But I hate Solo. I hate Hillbilly Elegy.
You hate Solo, really?
It's fine. I maybe hate is a strong word. I think if it wasn't a Star Wars movie, I would be like, oh, that's mediocre. That's fine.
It has potential. If it were more like bright and fun, like if it didn't
Do you
take
mean
itself
if
super
it was
seriously.
directed by someone like Lord and Miller?
Exactly. If it were continually directed by them, and it didn't have that super dark cinematography.
If only there was some
been better.
director that Lucasfilm could have hired. If only there was some duo known for their improv comedy and bright, vibrant,
Taking
colorful
ideas
movies.
that sound bad but making them good.
Oh man, I hate Lucasfilm. I'm sorry.
Just studios and just Disney. I think it's F them.
That's another amazing thing about Lord and Miller is that in the age of Disney really monopolizing animation, not that they haven't always, but like especially now, Lord and Miller have managed to have some of the most successful non-Disney animated movies. They've managed to have one of the only animated movies since the advent of the Best Animated Feature award at the Oscars to win.
Yeah.
That isn't Disney. I mean, in the age where Disney has basically had this effect of destroying 2D animation, like we really don't get 2D movies anymore, they've taken 3D and kind of revolutionized it and given it this new, really animated, really expressive like style that blends 2D and 3D. They did that with both Spider-Verse and with this new movie, Mitchell's versus the Machines. They're just really exciting people.
No, definitely. Speaking of Mitchell's versus the Machines, we watched it.
We watched it. It's on Netflix now.
Kolby, what's it about? Tell us, Phil.
The Mitchells versus the Machines follows a let me read the IMDb synopsis. A quirky, dysfunctional family's road trip is upended when they find themselves in the middle of the robot apocalypse and suddenly become humanity's unlikeliest last hope. The movie basically starts as a funny family road trip comedy and then takes a sharp turn, like The World's End style, into
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
into robot apocalypse movie. And this family, played by Abby Jacobson, Danny McBride, Maya Rudolph, and the director, Michael Rianda, who plays the little brother that's obsessed with dinosaurs.
And of course, Doug the Pug as Monchi.
Oh, yes, of course. Doug the actual dog, Doug the Pug, plays Monchi the Pug. That was so disrespectful of me to leave out Doug.
What's wrong with you?
The backbone of this cast. This funny family of characters has to work through their personal issues, mainly between the father and daughter characters, in order to save the world from an evil robot uprising caused by a Silicon Valley tech mogul type character, played by Eric Andre, and his evil smartphone named Pal, played by Olivia Colman.
So awesome. I love that.
Going into this movie, I was excited, like very, very excited, because it's Phil Lord and Chris Miller. But I was a little bit hesitant because in the last couple of years, we've gotten a lot of the same kind of messaging in TV and movies about the danger of technology, but they all have sort of come with the same lack of nuance, and they're often just phone bad.
Nuance and subtlety. Yeah.
Yeah. The original title of this movie, when it was announced last year before COVID, and then before it got delayed and sold to Netflix and renamed to, I should say, that Mitchell's vs. the Machines was the original title, but it was
Yeah.
going to be released last year with the name Connected, which is obviously a bit more punny.
Which sucks.
And I remember it being kind of marketed as like focusing on the tech aspect. Like I remember the first
Yeah, it was marketed more as like a family road trip movie with
yeah.
trying to not be on the phones.
Yeah.
Like it had nothing to do with the robot uprising, from what I
Yeah.
remember.
And then when COVID hit and it got delayed, they were able to sell it to Netflix. They were able to rename it what they originally wanted to, Mitchell vs. the Machines, and focus on this fun, wacky robot apocalypse story.
Yeah.
What I really like about the movie is that the message isn't just phone bad. And Phil Lord and Chris Miller have said in interviews, like, we wanted to make this not just, hey, technology's bad, hey, Gen Z, millennials, stop having your face glued to phones. We wanted to make something more real than that. We wanted to show the this is going to sound funny for a PG-rated Netflix animated movie, but like we wanted to show the political dangers of Silicon Valley tech companies, of of smartphones, of like how much technology is growing and imposing on privacy and personal data, but also this is being made by people who animate on computers, who have used their phones and cameras to create a career for themselves in film, which is an art form that they love and are passionate about,
Yeah.
And this movie really acknowledges, with its main character who is a film student, this new reality we're living in, where art forms like film and also like animation and other things are more accessible to people and to young people at a younger age because of the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And it acknowledges how wonderful and beautiful and fortunate that is.
Yeah.
And there's a line in the movie where the dad, who's the character of Rick, played by Danny McBride, is very much the caricature of the suburban dad who's like, put your phones down, we're going to spend family time together.
Yeah, total conservative, old type dad. Yeah, the suburban dad. Yeah.
He like hates technology. Like that's his main character crux. There's a scene where he's talking to the tech mogul character, and he says, I don't believe in your company. I don't believe in what you're doing here. But if it helped my daughter create this short film that means so much to her, then I guess it isn't
Maybe
all
it's
bad.
not so bad. Yeah. Which is great.
That was really wonderful.
Yeah. I love this movie. This movie was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool. Super fun. Super energetic. Creative.
Mm-hmm.
And damn it, it hit home. It hit home a lot with like the themes, not just the themes, but like the relationships between Katie and her dad and her sibling and her mom, just the family aspect of it. Another thing that a lot of animated movies, or just movies in general, kind of force upon you is the family aspect of it, and like having his message. Mm-hmm. This movie definitely earns it. It's definitely sweet without being corny. It's not corny at all. I think it definitely earns the family message of like, what's most important is each other, or like to kind of put your differences aside and love your mom or your dad, and all these things that have been told countless times, but because this is so unique and so fun and is done in a different way, and honestly in a pretty honest way too. Mm-hmm. I love the way that it's handled, that kids will be able to understand, but that adults can watch it and relate to what's going on.
A lot like Gravity Falls.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, definitely.
Or like other Lord and Miller projects. The Lego Movie has like a lot of adult themes in it.
for sure. Like consumerism, especially.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, and it's also it's a it's a kids movie too, and it works as what we were saying, or like what you were saying, like with these heavy themes of
Mm-hmm.
what of the politics that these technologies implement on people,
Mm-hmm.
and but also having a fun time while watching it. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was laughing from the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
laughing, and damn it, I would be lying if I say I didn't almost cry.
Oh, me too. Oh, me too.
It made my mom cry. I was shocked. Like the first time I watched it twice. The first time my parents were out for the weekend, and I watched it because of the podcast and also because I wanted to watch it. I watched it with my brother, and we like fell in love with it. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is awesome. Like this is funny. It has a great message. It's super and it's original and it's creative, with new characters and everything. So I had to show it to my parents, and yeah, my mom from the beginning, without spoiling what really happens. In the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, there's a moment that happens between Katie, who's the daughter. By the way, Katie Mitchell is like the most relatable character.
She's so wonderful. She's so
She's
wonderful.
awesome.
Especially for any like film majors or film snobs or even
Yeah,
just like kids who want to go into the
just
arts in
kids who
any
are weird.
capacity. Yeah, weird
Yeah,
artistic kids that don't necessarily fit in always.
yeah. Especially when they
Um
don't feel that from their own family.
mhm.
It definitely is gonna hit home.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those who don't know or haven't seen it, she wants to be a film director, or like she wants to be in the movies. So that already was like, damn it, I love her. Or I love this movie. She has a difficult relationship with her dad because her dad is seems to kind of not understand what she does and why she loves it.
Mhm.
And but he's not a bad character at all.
Oh, I think he's
He's a great character.
incredibly I mean, he's a co-lead.
Oh yeah,
He's
definitely. It's
incredibly
like I was
sympathetic.
thinking of like Paranorman. Norman's also
Yeah.
like a total weirdo outcast, but the dad never comes off as. I love that movie. Don't get me wrong, Paranorman's great,
Mhm.
but the dad is kind of an ass in
Yeah.
that movie, in that you never see him actually trying. He's always ridiculing and putting Norman down. Whereas in here, you can definitely see the dad trying his hardest. So there's never a point where you feel that either are the villains or that you're supposed to be rooting for either or. It's more of you're rooting for their relationship rather than an individual person,
Mhm.
which I thought was really well done. No, yeah, early on something happens where the dad, Rick, is watching some home movies, and yeah, damn it, made my mom cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it almost got
um
me too. It's really well done.
you could say that like the way the family is written is kind of cliche. I would say
Yeah.
that's true. I mean, we've seen this before, but um, it's written here in order to just be relatable to the most people as
Hmm.
possible. You know what I mean? This is
Yeah.
pretty much the typical suburban family in our day and age. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, it's very. I'm sure personal to Michael Rienda and Jeff Rowe, and probably also to Lord and Miller, of the kind of families they grew up with.
Just anybody that worked on the movie, because obviously
Yeah,
it's about a kid who wants to pursue a career in the arts, and
yeah.
obviously that's not something super practical or not something many people understand, and so parents are going to be super protective about that, or
Mm-hmm.
just kind of help that they land on their feet. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm sure that everybody that worked on this was like, damn, that was me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But this
So,
here
but you were saying?
it's written in a I won't say schmaltzy, but it definitely tugs on your heartstrings. Like you said, you were talking about crying. Like
Yeah, but it's
you've seen this
like you were saying,
before,
it's not
but it's so
corny.
earnest. It's so
Yeah,
sincere. It's so wholesome. I cried too, and I think
nice.
Lord and Miller have a really uncanny ability to make you cry when I would never expect them to. The Lego Movie is kind of
Yeah,
emotional, and
yeah.
Confession.
Claudia with a Chance of Meatballs can be, and so is Spider-Verse.
Yeah, Confession, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is the movie that I have cried at more than any other in my entire life.
Now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Now you gotta explain.
I've watched Spider-Verse, I think 3 times now. The first time I saw it in theaters with friends, and I laughed. I had a good time. I was laid back. It was cool. It was a cool new Spider-Man movie. I rewatched it the second time by myself at home, and I cried 5 separate distinct times.
No, wait, what?
Whether it was because of the relationship between Miles and his dad, or it was because of a certain character's death, or it was just because of how I think like inspiring and beautiful that movie is.
Mm-hmm.
That movie makes me like an emotional wreck.
That's so
but that's
weird.
not to say that
I mean,
it's just
cool.
a big bummer, because it's also such a fun adventure movie, and I love watching it with
Yeah,
friends.
yeah, yeah.
And I would say the
Uh-huh.
same thing here. Like, this is like, we're kind of making this movie sound like it's a big tearjerker and it's very political. And yeah, there's those elements, but it's also
but that's not
an incredibly
like,
goofy, fun family movie.
it really, it's more of a goofy,
Yeah.
silly,
It's an
fun
adventure movie. It's
adventure
very
movie,
hyperkinetic. It's not like you can't watch this without crying. Like, if what you want is a fun time, you can get that. But if also what you want is a more personal, more emotional experience, that's here for you too. That's what Lord and Miller are so good at.
It's pretty great that a movie can have elements like this, like we were saying, that's personal and emotional and even political, and feature Furbies attacking a family. A giant Furby.
Yeah.
Just terrifying. I love that it can balance these but not feel out of place, which is akin to, and we keep bringing back Lord and Miller. Like, they only produced the movie. I mean, obviously they have creative insight for sure.
They have a lot of influence on the movies that they produce.
It definitely feels like something that they would have done.
Yeah.
You can definitely feel their handprints in this.
Definitely. I feel like in everything that they work on, whether they're writing and directing or they're just producing, it always fits into their style. They have a very specific sense of what they like to do. You can always feel their influence for sure.
They're definitely hyperkinetic. Their jokes there's a lot of jokes in their movies. They kind of fly by sometimes.
Yeah.
It's hard to like appreciate every single one, because after a joke is said, another joke equally as funny, if not as funny, is said the second after. And they also tend to take movies that have terrible ideas but make them good. Making a Lego movie sounds like a complete cash grab.
Yeah.
Lego Movie is genuinely one of my favorite movies ever. I adore that movie.
It's great.
It's great. Animated Spider-Man, same thing. It's like, are you kidding me?
Especially
We
when
already
it's
have like 10 Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, like alongside this other Sony Spider-Man continuity. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you gonna have 2 at once? But then it ended up being the best Spider-Man movie.
Not just that, but like you said, like this revolutionary movie for animation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's crazy. And then even the Jump Street movies are like super self-aware of the fact that, yeah, we're a remake, we're a reboot.
Yeah.
We're doing our best. And I think Solo was going to be something like that, and Lucasfilm was like, no, you can't have fun.
Yeah. Because a Han Solo
So
origin
they
story
fired them.
sounds very bad.
Yeah. And so when we heard that Lord and Miller were attached, it's like, oh, okay, maybe there could be something good from this. No.
Yeah.
Too bad. That's why people were excited for your stupid movie. Because Phil Lord and Chris Miller, damn it. Whatever. Sorry, back to this.
I'll never forgive you, Greedo.
Greedo?
I don't know.
Correct.
When are we gonna get the Greedo origin story? Come on.
They're going to make a series about it on Disney Plus. Don't worry about it.
That'd be really funny. I'd be down for that.
An animated Greedo series. That'd be funny.
That'd be funny. I like that.
Stop motion. I'd watch
I do
that.
really like that this movie isn't just the typical Lord and Miller style. It's also blended with the Gravity Falls style. You've got Michael Miranda and Jeff Lowe. You've also got Alex Hirsch, who has a writing credit on this movie as a story consultant. He voice acts in the movie. I'm those are like my two favorite animated comedy styles. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
They
So
blend really
yeah,
well
this movie
together.
definitely worked for us.
Yeah. There's specific kinds of jokes, a specific sense of humor in this movie that is very reminiscent of Gravity Falls, like the quick cutaways. Which I sometimes really don't like. Like Family Guy is really guilty of doing constant cutaway jokes that really bother me because they just like on Family Guy it's like, "Hey Lois, this reminds me of the time that we were on Family Feud," and then it cuts to them on Family Feud, and then it cuts back, and it's like that's not a joke. You said a thing and then you showed it to me, but I don't know. The Gravity
Yeah,
Falls
yeah,
crew do a really good job with it, and they did a good job with it here too. They
I
usually
agree.
use it as
Yeah,
like an answer cut, like a character asks a question and they cut to the answer, which always makes me laugh. Or they kind of subvert your expectations, like a character will bring up a funny memory and then they'll cut to it and it's not at all what you were expecting it to be.
yeah. And it cuts back to them. Good times.
Yeah. Also, like these little pop culture references, which
Yeah.
again, sometimes in animation I hate those, like Chicken Little.
And it wasn't annoying at all in this.
Yeah. Um, again, here I think little pop culture references when used right, can contribute to the relatability of something.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna set a big action scene in a suburban shopping mall, it's a pretty good bit to have the Furbies turn evil and fight the main characters. It
Yeah.
feels weird to like have Furbies, which are like a branded, copyrighted toy thing, in this movie, but it kind of works because it makes it
Yeah.
feel
And
like it's set in your world rather than
yeah,
other
definitely.
animated movies just kind of like Shrek, Chicken. Like it was a real trend in the 2000s after Shrek to just have your animated movies throw out references to like real movies and bands and stuff, and I always found that annoying.
Hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Here it just really contributes to the characters, I think.
Not to say that any of the references here aren't bad. I found some of the meme references to kind of be a little
Oh yeah.
meh. Like I
There's
was
like
kind
a
of worried at
recurring joke
first.
with this screaming monkey, which
Yeah,
I
I
think was
didn't
like a
like that.
popular internet video a couple years ago. I didn't think that was very funny.
Yeah, and that was like in the beginning of the movie, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah,
I was kind
and
of
they
nervous at that
reuse it a
point.
couple times throughout.
Yeah, I would say any of the times that they like quote memes or anything, it's like that's not that funny.
Mm-hmm. Anytime you're writing a movie that's going to reference the internet, it's really hard because the internet and the fads and the memes move so fast, and
Yeah,
movies
exactly.
inherently by nature take a long time to make. That
Hmm.
usually the writing process is completed like at least a full year before the movie is released.
Exactly.
You know, so if you're writing a movie and you're trying to reference an internet meme, that meme's going to be dead by the time your movie comes out. There's no getting
Yeah,
around it.
so just don't do it. I always think of that stupid "What are those?" joke in Black Panther. Remember
Oh,
that?
that was painful.
That
That joke had been
sucks.
over for a long time too.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about
So
that.
I don't remember the movie that much, but I remember groaning hard at
Yeah.
that.
The thing is
I've
with
only
this
seen that
movie,
movie once.
I don't pity the writers because it's a movie where the internet is central to the plot. The characters'
Yeah,
use
yeah.
of the internet is central to their development. And so it makes sense to want to reference real life internet stuff. I mean, maybe it could have worked just as well if they like made up fake memes for the world of the movie, I guess.
Yeah.
But that kind of takes more setup like in the script. I don't know. I don't pity having to write any movie that's going to like focus on the internet. That's really tough, and
Yeah, yeah.
even if there's a few hiccups here and there, overall this movie did it very impressively.
Yeah, like I think there's a moment where Katie uses Snapchat on her dad. I thought that was kind of
Oh
funny
yeah.
because the filters have always been there and they're always going to be
Yeah.
there. It's not like that's like a meme that
Mm-hmm.
just appears for a couple of months and then bam, it's gone.
Yeah.
Not even months, just weeks. So, stuff like that that seems to be more like permanent rather than this monkey video. Yeah, that to me is like the only thing that sticks out like a sore thumb in terms of it. Like, yeah, that's not funny or not very
Yeah.
good.
There are a couple points in this movie where they touch on social media itself too. And it's like, again, it's such a thing that could easily have been social media bad, right? And not
Yeah,
have
yeah.
much real nuance to it. But um, on one hand, they show how the mom's use of social media, the way she compares herself to others on social media, which I think is something that's very relevant to like anybody
Yeah,
today,
yeah,
it negatively affects her. And they have this other family played by Chrissy Teigen and John Legend, which I thought was a really funny kind of
yeah. Yeah,
like
yeah.
real world joke casting.
Yeah, because I feel like a bunch of people compare themselves to
Yeah,
them.
because they have like very big like Twitter presences, especially Chrissy Teigen.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so there's this family played by them who are like this perfect ideal family, or at least the way they present themselves online is. And Maya Rudolph's character in this movie just like always has a lot of like self-doubt and self-consciousness because she compares herself to them so much. But on the other hand, you've got your main character Katie, who is able to make all of these wonderful online friends at the school that she's going to go to, which is something I can really relate to in the last year with COVID. Which last year was supposed to be my first year of college, and I've been doing it on Zoom, but I've been able to make some really cool friends online. And now once I get on campus, like I'll have some relationships already established, which is really cool. And I think
Yeah.
the movie highlights that in a really cool way.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not like done in your face. It's done well.
Yeah.
It's done well.
Does the little brother calling random phone numbers and asking them to talk about dinosaurs with him count as social media?
No. I don't know. Aaron, by the way, is awesome. I love him.
He's
He was
wonderful.
so funny.
One of my best friends growing up was, and still is to this day, one of my best friends. If you're listening to this, man, I love you. He is just obsessed with dinosaurs since we were little kids. And he's like super knowledgeable about dinosaurs. He always has been more knowledgeable than anyone else his age. So watching this movie, like the Aaron character was reminding me of him so much. And I was texting him like, "You've got to watch the Mitchells versus the Machines." It's a character that's just like fifth grade you.
Bro, this is you.
Oh man!
Yeah,
And then the part
super
where they
fun.
go to the dinosaur museum and it's like a crappy
Love
roadshow
it.
attraction,
Yeah.
and the
I love
brother
it.
is like correcting the anatomy of all of these dinosaur
Yeah.
models. I
This
love
isn't
that.
right. Where's the manager? This isn't right. And he looks at the, like, what is it? The Brachiosaurus. It looks like a Homer Simpson dinosaur. Super funny.
That was
He
great.
meets the girl, who's
Yeah.
also a dinosaur fan. Hey, he's so excited to see her.
Oh my god, I love. And then there's a point in the movie where they show his search history, and it's like just in the background of a shot. But if you pause it and read it, it's so funny because he's googling things that like are just questions that Google can't
Can't answer?
It's like does what's the character's name? Is it Abby? I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's like, does Abby like me? Does Abby like dinosaurs? If I talk about dinosaurs, will that get Abby to go on a date with me? Like, it's so funny.
Wait, when is this?
It's I don't want to. It's kind of in a spoiler scene, but it's when they pull up the characters' screens onto the big screen to like expose.
Okay.
you know what I'm
So
talking
it's
about?
in that moment. Yeah.
If you look on
like,
the screen, if
what-
you pause it and look at the screen, there's a
see.
portion of the screen that says Aaron's search history.
The moment that transitions the second into the third act.
Yes, definitely.
I see.
It's kind of
Okay.
the all is lost moment, which
Yes. Okay.
I thought was well done. That's a moment
Me
where
too.
if you fumbled it, the dad really could have come off unlikable, and I think they really nailed it with that character, making him very sympathetic.
Yes.
You know what? He's a lot like the dad in Wolfwalkers that we talked about recently, where he kind of causes a lot of the problems in the plot, and if it was done less well, then he could have been much less likable. But because his voice actor is so good, and because how well written he is, like you really get where he's coming from, and you feel for him, even though
Exactly. Yeah.
that
It
he's
could have just
usually in
been like the
wrong.
typical strict father.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he's a character that you can. Oh, excuse me. That you can understand where he's coming from, like you said, and I was shocked that this was Danny McBride.
I
Because
know.
Danny McBride usually does just kooky, wacky, or just silly voices or just performances.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it's a great performance, like a great voice performance.
I think it's probably the best Danny McBride performance I've seen, which is weird to say for an
Probably.
animated movie,
Yeah.
but I can't think of a better one.
Not from the top of my head.
I mean, Tropic
No,
Thunder's funny, but I'm not gonna say it's a better performance than this one.
I still haven't seen that.
He is really funny in Hot Rod. I forgot he was in Hot Rod until just now.
Holy crap, Hot Rod's awesome.
He's really funny in Hot Rod.
I love Hot Rod.
We should do an episode on Hot Rod and Popstar.
Yes, I still haven't seen Popstar. I have not.
It's amazing. It's so wild.
I can't wait. I look forward.
Okay, now
Hot Rod though, super fun. I love it. 10 out of 10. Not 10, like an 8. I love it.
Still.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
No, you're right. That moment, the all is lost moment, that could be like a total. We even discussed this in Onward, where it's like forced drama. Mm-hmm. Where in Onward it made no sense, and it was kind of dealt with immediately and quickly, whereas here it makes total sense. It's a part of the story. It's the emotional heart of the story is the relationship between Katie and her dad. Mm-hmm. Like that is like the central like theme of the movie and what drives it forward. Like sure, like it what's about like there's obviously this whole crazy apocalypse happening, but the central story and what's going on is the relationship between these two and the family in general. And so the all is lost moment has to deal with that, and it didn't feel like this is forced. It didn't need to be here. It was well done. So, good for you, movie, because a lot of animated movies have that moment, the all is lost moment.
That's a really good contrast I hadn't considered, because both this and Onward are like family road trip movies.
True.
That become sci-fi fantasy adventures.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, if you go back to our second episode ever, way back, we really kind of bashed on Onward because the family dynamics in the movie and the chemistry between Tom Holland and Chris Pratt just feels really fake. Like it's not. It just doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel sincere. The
boring.
issues between them feel really contrived, and you absolutely could have had that here. I mean, they're really similar premises, but just this. I don't know. This just feels like it was written from the heart. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like, oh, we're going to do this family, we're going to have this conflict because that's how you write a story. It felt like the writers were totally basing it off their own lives, their own families, their own experiences, their own emotions. And you can really feel that on the page.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it definitely felt more personal and just someone's own unique vision rather than another Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to say about the Mitchells versus the Machines?
Not really. It's one of my favorite 2021 films so far, and it's not up against that much competition, but I can, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff coming out this year that could look cool. I don't know if it'll stay high up there. I could see it being in my top 10 by the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll have to see, but for now, I really like it. I think it's not Spider-Verse for sure, but it's
it's not like a movie or Spider-Verse, but it feels like a lot like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs for me.
Yeah, just a really delightful animated movie.
Yeah, a delightful animated movie that earns its message and earns the heart that it has.
Yeah,
it's not forced, it's not corny,
and also a lot of substance.
It's not wacky by being it's not wacky but also annoying. It's wacky but like sincere with a heart and super fun.
Yeah.
Great animation choices, some hand-drawn animation here and there for like explosions or for like Katie Vision with her films that she makes.
Yeah.
Some puppets. Her movies are super fun.
I loved her little short film.
With the pug and everything. Super fun. I love it. And I also love like the small aspect of that it's almost kind of meta in a way that she's able to kind of bring in real life situations and real life issues that she goes through and puts them in her movies. In her movies that are super silly and out there. It's almost like this movie. Something that's super silly and super out there, but it feels personal still at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. which I think is what art is. Art should be your own style, but it should also exemplify or show, just kind of be what you believe in, and just who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Your own. It should be personal. Art should be personal, and art should be who you are.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, really great stuff.
Didn't you say it somewhere that if Katie Mitchell had a Letterboxd, you'd follow her?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
I
concur.
did.
Absolutely. She had Portrait of a Lady
she's
on
super
Fire
fun.
in her room. Like, hell of a taste. Great taste.
It's good for her. I love it. Should we guess what director she likes? She definitely likes Celine Sciamma, or whatever, however you say it.
I think there was either something in the background of the movie or maybe just something that Lord or Miller posted that was like a list of directors that she would like.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I definitely see her as an Edgar Wright fan.
Oh, yeah, big time.
I see her liking Martin Scorsese. A24.
Definitely an A24 head.
Definitely A24 girl for sure. I can see her loving Lady Bird.
Oh, yeah.
She's Queen Greta all the way. Yeah, that just seems like the stereotypical.
Oh, she has
what she likes.
shining socks in the movie. So she definitely likes Kubrick.
Cool. So she likes Kubrick.
She has a Wes Anderson pin.
Oh God, Wes Anderson's like a obvious choice. When I say
Here
Wes
it is.
Anderson.
In her video application to film school, we get a glimpse of her Mount Rushmore of directors. The 4 people that she looks up to the most are Greta Gerwig, Celine Sciamma, Lynn Ramsey, and Hal Ashby.
All female directors, right?
I think so. You guessed 2 of those.
Yeah, Lynn Ramsey. I knew it.
No, Hal Ashby's a dude.
Oh, who's that?
He made Harold and Maude.
Oh my God, Harold and
Being
Maude.
There and Shampoo.
Oh my God. I am a failed film student now. Oh no. Oh dear.
She's got a good list.
Yeah, she's got quality taste. And that's awesome because she likes these movies that like these filmmakers that makes movies that are super slow and dramatic, and she makes these silly puppet movies, which I think is great. She has mixed taste, which I think is awesome.
You want to rate it?
I give it an 8 out of 10. It's super great, really fun. Has some moments that are like, obviously, like some jokes, meme jokes that are not very funny, super dated. Kind of fast paced. Sometimes it can get exhausting, but overall, it's really great. It's my favorite of the year so far. But like I said, there's not that much so far that I've seen. But yeah, really awesome. What about you? 8 out of 10, right?
Yeah, 8 out of 10 for me as well.
Awesome.
Okay, moving on. We're gonna go all the way back to the 1980s. All the way back to all the way back to 2001, I think, when
Yes.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller created their first project, their first major entertainment industry project. Actually, 2002. It was an MTV animated show, kind of like a edgy teen show, called Clone High. It lasted for 13 total episodes before it was canceled for some really dumb reasons.
For a hilarious reason.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Oh, we'll get into it.
They co-created the show with Bill Lawrence, Judah Miller, Murray Miller, and Erica Rivanoja. And they also co-directed the show with Ted Collier. Do you want to give us the plot synopsis? I mean, you kind of did in the theme song, but...
Yeah, so the theme song kind of is a plot synopsis, but basically it seems like a group of shadowy figures, these secret government agents and employees, dug up famous guys and ladies, Abe Lincoln, Joan of Arc, JFK, and made amusing genetic copies. They made these copies of them like clones, like almost like Jurassic Park. And they're teenagers, and there's a high school for them, and the principal is named Principal Scudworth, who's kind of He's kind of updating them on teen life and how they're doing. And we basically follow Abe Lincoln, Joan of Arc, and Gandhi. Abe Lincoln is this tall, dorky, how would you describe him, really?
Yeah, he's kind of the lanky, dorky, awkward guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's best friends with Gandhi, who's his party animal. And Joan of Arc, who's a punk emo girl in love with Abe.
Love it.
And yeah, great.
You've got JFK as the womanizing jock.
As the womanizing F-boy.
So funny. You've got Cleopatra as the cheerleader popular girl.
She's the whore of the school, basically.
I love the way that this show plays with like historical stereotypes. It's
in a
so
very
funny.
clever way. It's really funny. Colby, what do you think of the show?
I think it's a classic. I mean, it's very much like a relic of its time. It came out in 2002. It came out right after like Freaks and Geeks, which I think is one of my all-time favorite shows, but it's one of the shows that this one parodies a lot. In fact, the actor who plays the main character's dad in Freaks and Geeks plays Abe's dad in this show, and I'm pretty convinced.
Oh,
his name's Joe Flaherty. I'm pretty convinced that they just were like, "Hey, wouldn't it be funny if we just made Abe's dad the dad from Freaks and Geeks exactly and didn't try to hide it?" Because his character model, his animated character model, looks exactly like him.
It's then probably. They probably just did that. That's funny.
And even though I love Freaks and Geeks, I also love this show that totally bashes it and parodies it, along with other early 2000s kind of quote unquote
the tropes
melodramatic,
of like high school,
punk rock teen shows.
Exactly, yeah. Shows, movies, very John Hughes here and there. Mm-hmm. It has some dated celebrity guest stars.
Oh yeah, you got
Tom
Marilyn
Green.
Manson in the
Remember
second
Tom
episode.
Green?
Tom Green.
Marilyn, you said Marilyn Manson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Marilyn Manson. What's his name from Jack Black? Well, Jack Black is still pretty relevant.
Yeah, no, definitely.
What's his name from Full House? John Stamos.
Oh, I forgot he was in the last episode.
He was like in the last episode
as himself.
Yeah.
You've got Michael J. Fox in one episode.
Yeah, true.
Zach Braff. That's kind of dated.
That's super dated.
Because this was during Scrubs.
Scrubs, and then he made that movie Garden State, right?
Mm-hmm. That was actually after the show ended, though.
Oh, then I
Which is funny, because it almost feels like the show is parodying that.
Yeah, exactly. Super funny show. And I was kind of like shocked at some moments of like, oh god, they did this back in 2002?
Yeah, it was
like,
a
Abe Lincoln and Gandhi make out at some point. And the make out noises are gross in this show. It's like it's so gross.
That's during an episode where Gandhi he discovers he has ADHD, but basically every single person in the school mixes up ADHD with AIDS.
With AIDS,
and the episode becomes this satirical parody of the paranoia around the AIDS crisis, and everybody avoids him and like avoids toilet seats. Oh my god, the show is wild.
It's awesome.
There's an episode where everybody gets high on drugs, except the drugs are like dried raisins. They like smoke raisins.
Yeah. Super awesome.
God, I love this show so much.
It's just clever. It's just the early taste of what Phil Lord and Chris Miller would bring. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy that even a show that barely had a season, done many years ago, is still talked about and watched today.
Yeah.
I think because it's like a little bit ahead of its time. And some of the edginess and some of the, like, the wacky humor, like, that's been more embraced recently, like with Gravity Falls or shows on Cartoon Network, like Adventure Time or Steven Universe. Regular Show is probably my favorite. I love that show.
Or Total Drama, which came after this,
or
and
Total
had
Drama.
a lot of the same workers, and so if you look at the two shows, you'll see that they have a very similar art style.
Yeah, the art style especially.
I love how it plays with like historical tragedy. The show would feel like it was in very poor taste if it wasn't making fun of stuff that happened hundreds of years ago. But in the first episode, like, Gandhi makes, like, little finger guns at JFK, and he flinches.
That's true.
There's an
My
episode
name is
where
JFK.
a clone of Jesus Christ is using a nail gun in the wood shop at school, and he nails his wrists.
And, like, Jesus just has, like, this Mexican accent. Hey, Holmes. Which I think is super funny.
Oh my god. You've got Marie Curie, and she's like... she's, like, deformed from the radiation.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, the show was pretty edgy for 2003.
Listen, I can differentiate when a person is a person and a cartoon is a cartoon.
Yeah.
But Joan of Arc is cute. I'm sorry. Joan of Arc and what's her name?
That's what happens when you've been stuck at home for a year.
Ramona Flowers.
She does have a Ramona Flowers vibe, that's true.
Super cute.
That does kind of get into why the show got canceled, though, which I think is so stupid, but
it's super funny, though.
Because of the portrayal of Gandhi, there was protests in India that he was being portrayed in, like, a way that was making fun of him. And I don't want to act like I'm like, that's so stupid. Make fun of Gandhi. Whatever. Shut up, India. Like, I'm not gonna be that guy. The reason I say it's dumb is because in the show, if you watch the show, the joke is not at the expense of Gandhi. It's actually kind of like raising up the real Gandhi by saying the real Gandhi was so good that the joke comes from the contrast. There's no way this new one
is going to live up to him. Yeah.
There's a line in the first episode where the Gandhi character says, the reason I became this party animal is because I cracked under the pressure of living up to the real Gandhi, who was so great.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, man. The show is a satire. It's a political, historical satire. If you're making a joke out of the contrast of, like, the funny juxtaposition of Gandhi with raunchy parties, that's kind of showing how much Gandhi is respected, in the sense that the joke comes from
not only were there protests, there was a freaking hunger strike in India because of the show.
So they had to cancel the show.
Animated show on MTV. I can't believe it. It's ridiculous.
They are bringing the show back in the next year or two, but I'm worried it won't be as good without Gandhi. We'll see.
Is it not going to have Gandhi?
I don't think it can.
Why not?
Because that's the reason it got canceled.
I mean, who knows? What if they're like, F India?
I think they've confirmed that Gandhi won't be in the show.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to look this up.
I'm looking it up right now.
I need to look this up. No.
Okay, I guess it isn't confirmed whether or not he'll be in it. I'm assuming he won't be, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it says, there's currently no information of how or if the character of Gandhi will be reimagined. Anyway. That's funny. But it says Phil Lord and Chris Miller are still attached, so yeah, super fun. Do you have a favorite episode?
I don't know if I have a favorite episode. I do have a favorite line, which is in the very first episode when JFK goes up to Joan at the party and he goes, he asks her about something and she talks about getting drunk, and he says, "Are you drunk enough to sleep with me?" And she kicks him in the head and knocks him over, and then he gets up and he goes, "Answer the question!"
Answer the question.
It's so good.
Are you
That's
drunk enough to sleep with me yet? Get off my dinghy.
Not you. And also, to give credit where credit is due, JFK is played by Chris Miller.
Yes,
as is
that's
the
so
robot
funny.
Vice Principal Mr. Butlertron. And Phil Lord plays Principal Scudworth and Genghis Khan.
Oh god, he plays Genghis Khan?
Yeah.
Piñata! I'm not 21.
What about you? Do you have a favorite
so
episode
funny.
or a favorite joke?
My favorite episode is probably the film one.
The Film Fest. That's a really good one.
The film festival one. I love that Joan of Arc makes this super experimental hit student film, and she's like, "I know, it's so obvious. I know." And everybody's just like, okay. And what's his name? That gets it.
Oh, Sigmund Freud.
Sigmund Freud. Yeah. no, you're totally in love with Abe. How could it be so obvious? You know, just stuff like that. I love the movie that Gandhi makes. Oh God, what's his name that he makes a movie with?
George Washington Carver.
Yeah.
They make like a spy movie, Black and Tan.
They make a spy movie, yeah.
That one's so good.
Say what? Say what? Say what? Say what?
Oh, you know what? My favorite might be the makeover episode.
That's a great one too.
Makeover.
Yeah. Makeover. Yeah, I love it. I also love the line of let me I just love JFK's like exaggerated JFK voice. It's super funny. Let me draw you up with my pants.
I want a party platter.
Yeah. Nachos. I love it. It's so funny.
Hawk, is that the sound of a vulnerable teenage girl?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Students only. And Principal Scudworth is voiced by, you already said that, Phil Lord, right?
Yeah.
I like him. Mr. Butlertron.
I feel like there's not that much to say about this show that's like deep. It's just a great show. It's just so
It's
funny.
clever. It's not deep.
It's clever. It's extremely well written. It's just one of the funniest shows you'll ever see. And the whole thing is available
very funny.
for free online at different sources. I watched the whole thing on YouTube with friends. I actually discovered it for the first time last year. I had heard about it. I had known it was Lord and Miller, but I had zero idea what it was or even what it looked like. And I hopped on a Discord server just to hang out with some friends, and somebody was like, "Oh, we're gonna watch Clone High tonight." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I didn't even know it was like an MTV teen show. I thought it was on Cartoon Network, so I didn't realize how edgy it was. But one of my friends streamed it, and we watched like the whole show in one night. And then since then, I've watched it all the way through another like 4 times. Because it's only 13 episodes. It's like 4.5 hours total. It's just a classic comedy series.
It really is. And it freaking ends on a cliffhanger.
Ugh,
and it's super frustrating.
such a bummer.
Yeah, it's a total bummer.
And by the way, it's not a plot-heavy show. Like, we're not spoiling anything. There's no plot. It's a sitcom. It's a parody of sitcoms. But yet, it still ends on this big cliffhanger. That was pretty funny.
Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys.
Speaking of that line, the show has, like, resurfaced and, like, gained a new audience on TikTok. It's kind of become popular again, which I think speaks to how ahead of its time it was.
Yeah, definitely.
Mainly JFK, but also the show in general.
I also love JFK's gay foster dads.
Oh, they're hilarious.
They're super funny. There's some really... Yeah, we were saying earlier, there's just some funny... there's some really funny uses of historical figures for certain stereotypes for characters. Like I said, the one that made me laugh a lot. And I'm a Christian, for people who don't know. I mean, are you Christian?
Yeah.
Kolby or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Jesus one should be offensive, but it's not.
It makes me laugh so much. It's like the best
It makes me laugh a lot. Yeah. But
because the joke is just coming from irony. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
These jokes really aren't that offensive. They're just ironic if you know history. Like,
exactly.
Jesus, like, okay, it's like a famous saying that Jesus had nails in his hands when he was put on the cross. So to have a teenage clone of Jesus put a nail gun to his hand is hilarious, like almost objectively. Like, that's just funny. That's just clever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe my favorite character in the show isn't even a clone or a parody of a historical figure. It's like the only totally original character, who is Joan of Arc's foster dad. He's just this old blind jazz musician named Toots.
Yeah.
I don't know where that character came from, or like if he's parodying a specific thing. He's so funny.
I agree.
He's just so funny.
Besides him, who would be your favorite character?
Maybe Scudworth.
Scudworth is pretty
funny.
funny.
I love Scudworth.
I love, oh god. JFK just makes me laugh a lot. I just love sometimes I just randomly with my family just do the exaggerated JFK voice. Yeah, that sounds like the gentle knock of a vulnerable teenager. Teenage girl. Just stuff like that. My abs are so firm, you could grate cheese on them. Just stuff like that.
You know my policy on fatties. No fatties.
No fatties. Yeah, that I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said about the
No,
show.
I
It,
just want to
again, like you
recommend it.
said, it's not deep, but it's clever.
It's so
It's
funny.
really funny. It holds up
Yeah.
with for the most part. There's definitely some dated
Yeah.
celebrity guests, but
There's a
it's
couple
whatever.
things that are dated. I think the Tom Green episode is like the least funny one. The whole joke about Tom Green. Well, actually, that episode's
Yeah.
funny, but the Tom Green scene is like, it's a really flopped joke.
Do you find Tom Green funny? I kind of do.
No, I really don't.
Damn. All right.
But the thing is, for a show from 2002 that is basically all like political and historical humor, it ages so well. There's
Yeah.
very
Oh,
very
yeah.
few jokes that are dated.
Yeah. So the positives outweigh the flaws here for
Yeah.
sure in this show.
And when you're looking at it as a predecessor to Lord and Miller's extremely successful career, when you're looking at it in the context of their history, it is really really interesting and really fascinating.
I think we're good.
I think so. I mean, I don't know if we can rate this one like we would most movies that we rate because it's a show, but it is also pretty self-contained in the way that it's one season.
Yeah. I'd probably give it like a 9.
Me too. I think it's a near perfect show. I'd probably give it a 9.
Yeah. There's some things that hold it back, but overall it's like immensely watchable, super funny.
Yeah.
Killer
Very ahead of its
soundtrack. I
time.
love the
Oh,
alternative
the soundtrack
music.
is all like new original music, but all of it is parodying specific songs, so it does a really good way of like capturing the specific music of the 2000s and the 90s and like
Yeah.
making you kind of understand exactly what it's going for, even though it's like a new original song. Like there's a scene where Abe Lincoln's falling out a window, and it's like there's this song that's like a
Yeah.
what's
I was,
so
like, trying to
civil about
remember.
war anyways, and it's like this parody of war. What is it good for? It's so funny. That's actually like a good song. Like I really like that track.
Yeah, the songs on the show are good.
Yeah, they're good songs. And there's
The
also some
Abandoned
like funny
Fools,
musical
good for you.
numbers. There's a musical number about
Yeah.
Paul Revere.
Yeah. Yeah. Super clever, funny. Yeah, really well done. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it.
Great stuff.
It's all free on YouTube. Or if you want, give them money and buy it on Amazon on
Yeah.
DVD.
Yeah. I wish there was like
They
a
deserve
special
it.
edition. Maybe there is. I want to get like a special edition collection for this
Like
show.
a 15th anniversary Blu-ray.
Imagine if there was a Criterion. Oh man.
Oh, that'd be great.
I would love
Does
that.
Criterion have like TV shows?
No, they don't.
No, huh?
That'd be funny though.
I think they have TV specials, but I don't think they have
Maybe.
TV shows. Because I know Ingmar Bergman did a TV special. So,
Oh, okay.
and obviously, if it's Ingmar Bergman, they're going to have it on Criterion.
I think they have some TV stuff in collections. Like I have a Jacques Tati collection that has a TV special that he did, but probably not individually.
Yeah,
Anyways,
it'd be a little weird. It is more about just movies in general.
yeah.
But yeah, anyways, that was it. We're
That's
done.
pretty much all for today's episode on Lord and Miller. Obviously, we're
Yeah.
big fans. We can't wait to see what they do next.
Yes.
Sebastian, before we move on and close out this episode, what have you been watching lately? You have any recommendations?
It was Scott Pilgrim's 10th anniversary recently. Did you go see it too in the theater?
Yeah.
Yeah, so did I.
I think I
Super fun.
mentioned it the last episode. I don't remember.
Did you?
I don't know. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, it's I've seen Scott Pilgrim hundreds of times, but seeing it in the theater was like totally. There's a reason people plead, or like especially artists and filmmakers to go to the movies because it's a totally different experience.
And it
than
was
from home.
it was in Dolby, and the new sound mix was really good. Like
Oh
really,
yeah,
really good.
like for
sound
the
mix.
fight scenes especially.
It was like vibrating
super
the room.
awesome.
I loved it.
Yeah, super dope. Great screens, great sound. The audience was laughing. It's like, yeah, this is why you go to the movies. Super fun. And I took a friend that had never seen it, and he really enjoyed it. So it was like his first time. It's cool because it was his first time, and he got to see it in the theater.
That's great.
So that was pretty cool.
I envy that.
Yeah. Scott Pilgrim, 10 out of 10. And one that I enjoyed as a kid, but upon rewatching, it's kind of boring. World War Z.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Did you ever? It's whatever.
Hmm.
It's kind of one of those movies that, like, I was 13 when I watched it. It was one of the first horror movies that I was able to see in the theater. It was super intense and oh god, super intense, super scary when I watched it as a kid. You know, one of the first things that I saw. Now that I'm like gonna be 21, I've seen hundreds of horror movies. Lots of things that have actually scared me. And so going back to this, it's like, it doesn't really hold up.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. 4 out of 10. Not very good. Kind of boring. What about you, Kolby? What have you been watching?
I just watched a movie that I'm really excited about. It's, other than the Edgar Wright Sparks documentary, which I got to see early, and which the trailer just dropped for. I really hope people go see that when it comes out in theaters. Other than that, it is my favorite 2021 movie so far. It's my favorite non-documentary 2021 movie. It's a very small budget indie movie that just came out on VOD, but it's called Together Together.
Oh, I've heard about this.
It's with Ed Helms and Patty Harrison, who I hadn't seen in anything else. She's kind of an upcoming actress, but she's really excellent in it. It's also got some other really funny people as kind of like background supporting characters. You've got Julio Torres in it. You've got I wish I knew their names, but the sister actress from Rami and the secretary actress from Veep. Some other very funny people. It's, I thought, a really, really excellent platonic rom-com. That's kind of the premise of it. It's all about Ed Helms and Patty Harrison. They're just friends. They're not romantic, but this isn't a spoiler. This is the premise. But she is carrying his baby as a surrogate.
Oh.
And I love that at the end of Harry Met Sally, spoilers for a very old movie, they get together, but I kind of don't like that contradicts the idea and presented in the beginning of Harry Met Sally that men and women can't be just friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I believe that they can, and I've always wanted a movie that shows that, but it has that same style of Harry Met Sally, and I feel like I finally got it.
Nice.
I really like Together. I really hope that more people do see it and that it doesn't get forgotten in 2021, because it's very small. And it's not going to be for everybody. It's a very, like, intimate, pretty mellow comedy, and that is definitely my style.
Yeah.
But it's not everybody's, and I get that.
From the poster, it seems like a total pretentious indie movie.
Oh, I don't think it's pretentious. I think it's very...
Not pretentious. It just seems like a typical... stereotypical indie movie about like learning life and falling in love. There's two people leaning on the wall.
But that's what I love about it.
Looking at
is
the
it
poster.
does kind of subvert your expectations because it's platonic and because it's just very like intimate and raw and
that's nice.
Wholesome. I'm a big fan of it. I really, really liked it.
Together.
And I think it's just got a really, really cleverly written screenplay that I really appreciated.
Nice. I will check it out.
Alrighty.
Alright then. Alright,
Next week, we're going to
done
be
with this
talking
episode. Next week we are speaking about 2 horror pictures that we both like.
Next week we are finally going to be getting to talk about A Quiet Place Part 2. This is the movie that was supposed to come out the weekend that COVID happened, and it's been delayed a full year, and now it's finally coming out.
Yes.
Unless COVID 2 happens. We'll see.
Just don't say that.
So we're going to be reviewing the original A Quiet Place Part 1, which I won't spoil how I feel about it.
He hates it.
And then we're going to be talking about Quiet Place Part 2. I'm super excited. I've been waiting on this movie for a long time. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you guys for listening to our goofy little episode today.
We did well, Miller Phil.
Mill Filler
out.
I'm real proud of you guys. Thanks for being guests on our podcast and not saying a word. I really appreciate you guys just like hanging out with us.
Yeah.
They're in the room. The two of them are in the room. We're all friends.
Yeah.
We're kind of in the
They're
club.
not tied up and like half beaten to death.
No. No, they just don't want to talk. They're just
No, yeah.
they have sore throats from COVID. We're all quarantining together.
Yeah, we don't have a gun pointed at them at all. Or like a family ready to be killed at any second if they don't write a screenplay for us and take credit for it. I mean, what? What's happening? No, none of this is happening. We're giving ourselves away. We need to stop.
Yeah, we're gonna get this demonetized.
Did not mean any of that.
I was gonna say
at
demonetized,
all.
but we don't make money off these anyways. We're just. Thank you all for listening. Is there a nice sign off from Mitchell's vs. the Machines, or
Next week on a very special amateur cast.